Yo, how's it going, guys and girls? My name's Chris and welcome to my channel, CSM Investing. As you know, all over this channel we strive for financial freedom, but it is getting increasingly hard to know how to do that, as there are so many options, and how do you know which ones are right for you? Well, in this video today we're going to be talking about not what you should be doing, but what you aren't doing that is actually hurting your money making ability. Now, most of these things that we're going to be talking about are actually quite simple. You just need to be willing to change maybe your mindset on certain things and become a more free thinking individual. But like always, before we get into any of that, please do realise that I'm not a financial advisor, and anything that I do say, please take with a pinch of salt. And since you're all here, I hope you enjoyed the video. The first and probably one of the most important things is that you are actually putting your money in the bank when you shouldn't be. Now, I get it. Some of you probably out there thinking,
what? Are you stupid, mate? Putting my money in the bank? Of course I'm going to be doing that. The bank has security. They've been going for years and years. There's a good system there. So obviously I'm going to be using the bank. I'm not going to be carrying cash just to get robbed. What a joke, mate.
I'm not going to lie. I was just like you. I thought, why on earth would I take my money out of the bank? Seriously, all of my money's in there. I've got my debit card to hand and it's so convenient. If I ever need to spend something, straight away, you know what I mean? And all my savings are in the bank. Where am I supposed to put them? And that's where the two issues lie. The convenience of spending and leaving your savings in a bank that's not earning any interest. And since we're on the subject of making barely any interest, that takes me nicely onto our next point. You're not investing in index funds. Now, this can be a huge mistake that you're making, and I suggest changing it as soon as possible. Seriously. Look, I've spoke about index funds all across this channel since probably from the very first video that I've made. And even though the quality of that video is a lot worse than this, even though, as you can tell, this isn't great, it's just me sitting in my room with a tie and a jacket and a shirt on. Me just speaking, you know, direct to you. But trust me, the quality of that one's a lot worse. But I still suggest checking it out, just so that you can get a little bit more information. So an index fund is a portfolio made up of stocks and bonds that tend to mimic the performance of the financial market index. A few examples would consist of the Russell 2000 index, the Wilshire 5000 total market index, and of course the one that we all know and love, the S&P 500. Of course. Now, the reason why you're making a massive mistake by not actually investing in an index fund is because if you actually invested in an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, on average, annually you would get an 8% return. Other reasons to actually invest in index funds are because they're easy to understand, they have high liquidity, they diverse your portfolio, and the fees are cheap. But I know one of the main reasons people don't actually get into it, which is onto our next topic, and that's because people listen to people that don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about.
Don't do it. You'll lose all your money.
It's too risky.
I heard about one guy that made millions of dollars, but that will never be you.
It's a 1 in a million chance. They obviously had daddy's money to start off with.
Now, these are just a few things that you might hear from people who really don't have a clue what they're talking about. And these same people might go down to the bookies each week, putting a bet on the horses, or even taking part in the lottery, which is also known as the poor man's tax. If you take one thing away from this video, please let it be, don't listen to other people. Especially people that are actually in the stock market with the new hottest tip about all their favourite stocks and that you should invest in. Because at the end of the day, it might work out once, it might work out twice, but there will be a day where you lose all of your money because of this new hot tip that didn't pan out. And you're going to blame that person about you being in the red, and that can be a bit dangerous. Always do your research. The next big mistake that you might be making is sort of linked to the previous one that we've just spoke on, so we won't go over it in too much detail, but it's basically if a loved one is telling you not to do something, like invest in the stock market, it might sway your opinion and it might scare you out of doing it. But seriously, get out of that mindset. Don't be scared of the stock market. It's not scary when you get used to it, seriously. What you should be scared of is leaving your money in the bank where it's making an interest rate of 0.001, whatever it is. That should be the thing that scares you, not putting your money to work while you're sleeping. Let's just put it into perspective. How do banks make money? Well, they use the money that you put in and invest it somewhere else to make more interest. So why aren't you doing that? Doesn't that make sense to you? I'm going to make this next step nice and simple for you. Stop spending your money on materialistic things that you do not need. And lastly, just because someone else has it doesn't mean you have to have it as well. Stop trying to look fashionable. Stop getting the brand new car. Stop needing the biggest house in the neighbourhood. Keeping up with the Joneses is a sure way of keeping you at the bottom. I can guarantee that even though to your neighbours you might look flashy and that you're doing really well, but as I said, I can guarantee that them bills and the mortgage are killing you. And it's because as your wage increased, so did your living expenses. So you're no better off really. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, you're still struggling, and it's all because you want to look like you're doing well, even though you're not. Sorry to burst your bubble. My final thoughts here are that there are many mistakes that you could be making, and we've only covered a few of them here today in this video. But none of what I've shared is difficult, or all of you out there can change. You can do better, and I believe in you. Chris, and thanks for coming to my channel. Peace.